Hello and welcome to the Matrixes.
With Jonathan and Shiva.
Nope.
Like no?
Nope.
Now I said that specifically.
I know, yes. As you all may have already noticed, I've gone back to my original Nikki. The Shiva age has ended. Anyway, long story short, there was no specific reason. It was just a feeling. So, from now on, Nikki. Yes. Complete.
Then your name is now Nikki.
Yes, exactly. Topic today.
Topic today, Shiva is now Nikki.
No, topic today, we promised to make another video about lucidity, about our experiences with lucid dreams. What have we experienced? Of course, we can't tell everything, but we'll tell you about our first dream and maybe one or two more.
Yes, as you may remember, we made several videos just on the topic of lucid dreaming. And I think that's how many videos in total?
5.
5 videos, I think.
Más o menos.
We have already published 4, all under the banner of learning lucid dreaming and lucid dreaming in general. Everything that is related to it, including the techniques that you can use. Techniques before dreaming, techniques in the dream itself. Yes, and the last video we're starting today is about our own experiences, as Nikki already mentioned. So where do we start? So I would say that viewers would probably be interested to know when you had your first lucid dream and how long it took you to achieve it.
Yes, like my first out-of-body experience, I tried it and it worked. But in reality, that wasn't my first lucid dream. I had that, I don't know, at least when I was young, as far as I can remember. I don't have many memories. But my really first lucid dream, even though I didn't know that lucid dreams even existed at the time, were flying dreams. You probably know all of them. You've probably done it before. I was there with us back then, still up north in an old home with my parents. And there I was in the backyard practicing flying. And that was extremely cool.
In a dream?
In a dream, especially when you're young, you at least want to leave home. And then, of course, you practice flying to experience the feeling of freedom. And, of course, you have no idea about flying when you're so young, so you take a running start and jump off. And most of the time it even works. So it actually worked for me straight away. I took a running start, jumped into the air and spread my arms out like an eagle and tried to fly higher and higher. And at some point you realize that somehow you're sinking again. I have to flutter faster, which is of course nonsense. But I still thought that at the time, and I was extremely lucid in the dream. But as I said, I had no idea. I just thought it was extremely cool that I could suddenly fly, and I kept practicing it. Then I landed with my legs again because somehow the fluttering didn't work. I started up again, got up again, but somehow it got a little worse with every attempt. I probably became less and less lucid and then woke up. I don't remember exactly anymore. Anyway, that was my first unknowing lucider dream and my first real lucider dream. So I already knew what lucid dreaming was, tried to train, blah, blah, blah. I've already told them one time or another, so I think I practiced, a week or so.
And what technique did you use? Do you remember that? It's been a while, I think.
I used my app with Reality Check. You're dreaming right now.
So you used modern technology?
Very modern, yes.
To learn a technique for lucid dreaming.
Exactly, my phone reminded me every half hour, you're dreaming right now. And after a few days, it just appeared in my dream. And then I thought, oh, now I'm Lucy. What do I do now? Okay, remember this, and this, what you need to do now. Stay cool. Of course, everything worked. Do a check, do a test. Is this really lucid or am I in a lucid dream? And as I said, I suddenly found myself somewhere in the middle of a city. There were two people next to me. And we walked around the city like that. I was lucid. And then I talked to one of them and said, but the one in the middle isn't lucid, right? No, he's still sleeping.
Yes, I always find that so funny in dreams that you somehow recognize people who are lucid in the dream and the people who are not. I always find it very exciting that you somehow develop an eye for things over time.
Yes, it was my first one and I didn't know it. It was probably intuitive or something. He was probably already waiting for me because, I don't know, he was there and also knew that I was lucid. So he somehow had no idea.
Yes, that may have been a practiced lucid dream.
Yeah, no idea who that was, but waited. Anyway, I thought, okay, but I have to check further to see if this is a lucid dream. So now I wish for a high-rise gorilla. I have made, nobody was. I thought, shit, I'm not Lucy. Then I just walked around the corner of the house in this city. And then I saw a huge skyscraper in the distance and a gorilla that was even bigger than this skyscraper. And then I thought, oh, that's extremely cool. Then I'll go now and manifest myself an ice cream stand. I really want to eat ice cream now. Soft ice cream like in childhood with nice chocolate and sprinkles on top. Go there. Zach, ice cream stand. He makes me the ice cream. I have it in my hand. And what do? Wake up. Yes, that was a shame.
Yes, that's a shame, yes.
Yes, that was the first real one.
You can create anything you want in your dream, right? And if you want to take a bite, right?
That was tragic.
If you wake up, yes, that's tragic, of course, yes.
What was your first?
Oh, I was still a teenager then.
You too? Okay, tell me.
I think I was around 15, 16 years old. Hey, me too. And then I lived with my parents and had a small room in a converted attic. It was then expanded and I was able to live in the room and then, oh God, so many things happened, but I don't think that's the issue. Parapsychological phenomena and stuff.
There's one thing that the viewers want to know now.
But that is not the issue. In any case, as is typical of a young person, I stayed up late at night and, if it was a weekend, slept until 2 p.m. in the afternoon or something like that. And that was the case on these days. And then somehow I went to bed at some point in the night, fell asleep, woke up several times during the night and in the morning. And at some point I'm suddenly in a dream. In fact, as can happen when you're young, I'm currently going to school. And while I was going to school, I suddenly realized, oh, this is a dream.
What, you even go to school in a dream?
Yes.
What's wrong with you? Okay, but anyway, continue.
And then I was consciously in the dream. And I didn't know the phenomenon at all. At that age, I actually had no idea that you could train like that. For me, this was now a phenomenon that emerged. I hadn't heard of lucid dreaming at the time. And then I thought, oh, great. Something like that probably happens to a person once in their life when they realize in a dream that they are dreaming. I was completely unaware that this could be trained, that there were techniques for it. I mean, at the time there was no internet. People also wrote letters there with a fountain pen, with paper and envelopes and stamps and so on. Yes, and there were hardly any books about it, maybe one or two, but at the age of 15 or 16, you don't have the pocket money left over to buy a book every now and then. Anyway, that was my first lucid dream.
But didn't that seem totally natural to you, the first lucid dream? Or did you then... No, not at all.
Not at all. So I thought it was something special that might happen once in a lifetime.
For me, it was the opposite. I didn't pursue it after that. I thought it was just like that.
Yes, and I thought, yes, a great experience. So in the lucid dream, I immediately hit on the schoolyard beauty. Well, back then there was only one schoolyard beauty, there was nothing more. Nowadays there are 50. Today they almost all look good in the schoolyard. And in that context I woke up at some point and thought to myself, wow, what an experience. Cool, great. It's a shame that we don't have something like this more often. But then the topic was broken for me. Well, it wasn't until, I don't know, 2 or 3 years later that I realized that maybe this could be trained. That it is possible. I heard it somewhere then or something, or heard from people who are able to often automatically recognize in a dream that you are dreaming.
I heard about astral travel for the first time 2 or 3 years later, but lucid dreaming still wasn't on my radar. For me, that wasn't an issue at all.
What does it look like? Do you remember any lucid dreams that have stuck with you?
Yes, I had quite a few, many lucid dreams because I had an exciting rhythm. Somehow I went to bed at 3 in the morning, I don't know, in bed at 2 in the morning and out at 6. Or so pretty early anyway, or at 5 at least with the sunrise. I had a bit of breakfast, drank a cup, but then lay down again. And that gave me a lucid dream every time, every morning. Either or, lots of exciting hypnagogic information, and I had very many lucid scenes. Many of them were also very sexual.
Yes, big problem with lucid involvement. The libido goes crazy more often in lucid dreams?
We won't report on that now.
But we should at least mention it?
Yes, that's just how it is. So it just turns the wheel.
That's kind of weird. So there is a connection between libido and dreaming and in any case sexual energy. And in dreams there is a connection. And that's why you have to, first of all, not everyone. There are also people who have lucid dreams and don't want to know anything about sex in a lucid dream. Nothing at all.
There's something wrong with them too.
And then there are people who, as soon as they are lucid in the dream, then the brain shuts down and all the blood goes down, and then you run wildly through the dream looking for some willing romantic partner.
Yes, but I think it makes a difference how much you are lucid. If you're really clear, then there's no sexual energy, and if you're more like that, there's not even anything between prelucid and lucid. So you are conscious enough to control your dream and create what you want, but not 100%. And if it's somewhere in between, but you can control it, then you're usually very ambitious about finding someone.
Very ambitious, well put, yes?
Anyway, like that. But other exciting, lucid things are...
Which now have nothing to do with sex.
Yes, I had that too.
We don't want to excite our viewers unnecessarily.
At least once I saw the Asura, they are underwater creatures. They are such small creatures with pointed ears and totally cuddly. And then someone told me, yes, I should just follow him. And then there was this huge portal underwater. It was probably as big as, I don't know, that Berlin Arch there. Anyway.
Brandenburg Gate, do you think?
Exactly. In any case, this Asura creature swam through there, and I followed him ever further, but unfortunately I don't always remember.
Oh, too bad.
That was exciting.
Sounds like a great start to an exciting lucid dream.
Yes, but first he showed me around everywhere. I still remember that, and I always swam after him. Above all, it was funny because I could breathe underwater.
Yes.
Yes, I have had many, many exciting, lucid little mornings, but now you...
Oh, right, yes. When I found out at some point that you can also train lucid dreaming, I put the topic aside for a bit because I was busy with other things. Then later I said, now I'll train it. And then I trained it, and somehow after 2 or 3 weeks, the first lucid dreams came. That was very exciting. However, for me it was the case that I then noticed that there was a difference. So there are lucid dreams that are miles. That means you fall asleep and dream, and then at some point in your dream you become lucid. And I thought this form of dreaming was great, but it felt like I didn't have enough control. And the risk was too high for me. That means I had to fall asleep every time and hope that I would become lucid in a dream. That's why I somehow tried to direct my techniques or the techniques towards making it a wild game. So that means I lie down, close my eyes, meditate, and boom, I go straight into the lucid dream. That was important to me, and my first dream experiences were always very strange.
Sexually?
No, not at all. So there is no sexuality involved, but always a mystical, dark atmosphere.
Wow, exciting.
Yes, as an example, I jumped straight into a lucid dream and found myself in a condemned house. Such an abandoned, half-broken house. And that's where I found myself, and everything in the house, in the room I was in, apparently a living room because it was quite a large room. All I could see was a mirror on the wall. And then I went to the mirror and looked at myself in the mirror because I wanted to know in this lucid dream, what do I even look like in a dream? Because you never know. Imagine if there were no reflective surfaces in the entire world. Nobody would know what he looks like. You would have to let everyone describe what you look like. And in the dream I thought to myself, yes, it would be interesting to know, what do you look like in the dream? Are you man, woman? Are you a gnome? Are you a giant? Or do you have a giant nose or no nose at all, or 4 ears? Or what do you look like? And then I stood in front of the mirror and I thought I actually looked almost exactly the same as I did in everyday life. The only difference is that some things were different. The face shape was a little different, the hair was a little different, the nose maybe slightly different, mouth or... Something was always a little different, yes. And in that context I somehow stood in front of a mirror for minutes, completely fascinated by how different I looked in the dream and yet similar to everyday life. And then somehow I saw a door behind me in the mirror, and the door opened very easily. And then a man looked through. It was a bit scary at that moment, but I wasn't afraid at that moment because I was lucid. So it wasn't like I thought, oh, I ended up in a horror film or something. That wasn't the case. So dreams were always like that, which somehow always had a dark atmosphere or took place in places that were somehow a bit deserted or dark.
I just remember one of those too. I sat across from myself at the table. You were there too, sitting too, and someone else. I don't remember exactly. Unfortunately, I didn't write it down, but it was also really strange, sitting across from myself. So it was actually more of a kind of future itself, I would think, because it was really much further. But it's strange to see yourself like that in a dream.
Yes, definitely. Or many of the dreams that happened when I first started training always took place in lonely places that were always a bit in the twilight. And mirrors were always an issue, always. So with my techniques, I've actually always become 80% mirror lucid.
Oh, that's interesting.
When I saw myself in the mirror, oh, I'm dreaming. Look, I look like I did in a dream again. I'm dreaming. I had somehow placed an anchor somewhere. This is also an interesting technique, that you can somehow anchor things. For example, if you like driving and you drive a car often, then while you are driving, you should often imagine that you are in a dream. Or if you know that you often dream about the same thing in your dreams, that you are perhaps playing table tennis in my dream, or that you often play table tennis, then you should put an anchor there. Yes, and I found it interesting that I ended up in front of a mirror again and again, often automatically.
That's really funny.
That was very helpful. So mirror technology is, of course, very helpful.
Yes, now that we're talking about it, I can actually think of a few. I never wrote them down, all the lucid dreams. But here they come, funny. I should write that down now that I remember them.
Yes, I also looked through my thousands of Word document pages to see what kind of dreams you can share publicly in a video where you have become lucid. Yes, I think we both had a lot of lucid dreams, especially you, for example, with your hypnagogue technique or the sleep interruption technique, I say now. For example, I did a lot because I really practiced every night, lying in bed for an hour or so every night, trying to jump into a lucid dream. And of course 1,000 experiences became possible. So it's very exciting to train that. But you have to be patient at the beginning. What else comes to mind then?
Yes, visits from the higher one themselves come to mind.
These are already advanced lucid dreams, right?
I have no idea, so they weren't particularly long either. Once I was just in an old library and then an invisible force led me to a book. And the title was very exciting. Unfortunately, I've forgotten him now.
But it was exciting?
No, I know. The content was about something like follow your higher self. It was definitely 100% lucid until it became pre-lucid again and it somehow drifted away. And once the higher self came to visit.
What did it look like? Like you?
Yours is currently visiting.
Oh, well, okay.
Did he just mean, yes, I wanted to visit you? And then I just told him, yes, not yet. We're not ready yet. And then he said, or did your higher self say, yes, just ask if you need something. Okay, fine, I'll do it next time. Yes, I found that very funny. And I found one of the most exciting lucid dreams for me personally. And I think there's already one where I'm lying in my real room.
In your real room?
Yes, in reality we are not here. We are lying somewhere and dreaming.
Yes, that's right.
It's funny that this is a 50s style room, so small.
Yes, I know the room.
I know, he's on the other side, in the other room. That was funny. He didn't need to describe his room to me. I saw it immediately because I knew this room where he lay as a child in dreams. Then I described his room to him. Anyway, I was in my room, that's across the hall, whatever. I guess we're not particularly old there, 6, 7 at most.
We're still children.
Yes, 50s.
Kids in their 50s or something.
Yes, somewhere in America. Who knows? 5D, no idea.
Yes, it seems very American.
Yes, totally. And yes, I ended up in the room and then it was a mixture of astral and lucid. Anyway, I'm somehow constantly glued to the ceiling of this room.
Aha.
And I took a very close look at the room. Where is the cupboard? What does the bed look like? And that really comes to mind. and the wallpaper is so ugly. But it really has an extremely creepy touch because you're actually really lying there. And I must have been pretty much 5D because I didn't see anyone lying in bed. But it should have been lying. Anyway, at some point I left this room and ended up in this American suburb. So it looks like American suburbia there. And I was there all alone. There was nobody there. So it really had to... Yes, I don't know. I can't describe it that way because I was alone and it was extremely exciting, extremely scary. In a way that cannot be described.
Yes, that is correct. The experiences I have with it always have a dark, creepy atmosphere.
Yes, not scary in a horror movie way, but...
There's always that slight threat in the air.
From deep inside somehow.
Yes, that's right. As if you would realize something frightening at any moment.
Yes, exactly. Don't be alarmed, but yes, that's perfect.
Yes, very exciting. Well, after I had all the mirror dreams, I started thinking, what is possible in lucid dreams? That's when I discovered the technique that passive lucid dream. This means that if you recognize that you are lucid in a dream, then you do not interfere with the dream. Of course, I suddenly had great success. That means I couldn't lucid dream for just a minute afterwards, like you did with your ice cream truck. You have the ice cream in your hand and then it's over. This is the active lucid dream that you say, ice cream truck here, ice cream here, ham. This is active lucid dreaming. And passive lucid dreaming, as I said, you go with the flow. You run along when you meet someone and they say, yes, you'll just come with me, then you just run with them. So it's a bit reminiscent of Jim Carrey from the Yes Saga. Passive, lucid dreaming, you are in the flow. You act as if you're not a lucid dreamer, you act as if you're just as stupid as everyone else, and just keep going along with it. And see where the dream takes you. Don't interfere. Please don't say Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie here or stories like that. No. And then I met a beggar who lived on the street, just a tramp, and then I'm with that for an hour and a half.
Physical time or dream time?
So in estimated physical time, oh no, I walked around with it for hours. But for myself, it was an hour and a half in physical time. Because I went straight into the dream, and when I got back, I was able to look at the clock, and I saw that I had been traveling for an hour and a half. And in the dream itself, it seemed to me more than an hour and a half, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours or so. So I spent half the day on it, almost actually. And that was very interesting. So we walked around the city and talked to other people here and there, and he then told me, here I showed my favorite place. It was in a park like this. We then walked there together, sat under a tree, and he said he often sleeps here. Then the darkness slowly came, the sun went down, and then I could see the stars. And I looked at the stars and compared them with the stars that we can see here in our everyday world. They were different.
The stars?
They were arranged differently. Why?
Other constellations, yes. Crazy.
That was really exciting. So that's how I discovered passive lucid dreaming, to extend a lucid dream by hours. Yes, later I somehow tried to do other techniques. For example, what I was very interested in was taking objects with me from dreams. We made a video about it. We called it dream snapping. You go into a dream, grab the object and hold it tightly and take it back to your bed in everyday life.
Yes.
Exciting.
Exciting?
And this happened to me once. I was in a lucid dream, and in the dream I found money.
Yes, okay.
I was still quite young and broke back then. I was young and needed money, as they say, and there was a lot of money on the street. I thought, oh, I'm going to put this all in my pocket and take it over into my everyday world. Then I put in a few notes and so on, and put in coins and so on, and then I really wanted to take them with me into everyday life. And then when I woke up, I got up and there was no money.
Yes, the coins were too heavy. You should have just taken the bills.
The joke is, when I got up and later made my bed, I found 30 pfennigs in my bed. 3 10-pfennig coins.
Cool.
There were no euros back then either.
Cool.
And of course I thought about it. Have they fallen out of my pocket now, perhaps? Or did I actually bring them over from the dream? That was the big question for me back then. And of course I tried to bring books into this reality. So in your dreams that means looking for very special books that don't exist here, with very interesting titles on them, perhaps magical books or about knowledge that we don't know in everyday life here. Finding such a book and then stealing it in a dream. Plug it in, take it over, but unfortunately that didn't work. I tried all sorts of techniques, from pressing to my chest, wishing really hard, or I have no idea what I was trying at the time. I didn't manage it, but it should actually work.
I think so too, yes.
I just don't really know how yet, but I didn't pursue the topic for that long, because after that I started studying psychokinesis, i.e. telekinesis.
I was just about to ask.
Did you do that too?
Yes, a lot. So that's actually the main dreams or lucid dreams that you have. Train some paranormal abilities, right?
Yes, the principle is that you train telekinesis in your dream and then develop a feeling for this paranormal ability. And once you've done that, save this feeling and take it with you into the everyday world.
Yes, but not just telekinesis. There were many, many skills. There are also some that I didn't even know about here.
Correct. So do you have something that you use telekinesis in the dream?
No, not telekinesis in particular anymore. So creating avatars, shifting consciousness. Avatars control consciousness in 2 bodies at the same time.
I have something like that. Well, interesting. So you worked a lot with consciousness projections in your dreams, in your lucid dreams. Yes, that's just how it was for me. I always tried to get something through dream snapping. And if I can't get objects, then at least skills. That was the next trip I took with it. Enter the lucid dream, practice psychokinesis here, there. Everything I have already let fly in my dreams. So lots of things. Of course I found that very exciting, but I somehow lost interest in it because I had a few successes in everyday life, especially the fact that I developed psychokinesis, or I could use telekinesis, but not when I was normally awake. That means that when I was lying in bed with my eyes closed, slowly falling asleep, or waking up in the morning and slowly waking up, I could use the telekinesis that I had learned in my dreams. I could open and close doors or turn lights on and off. So I managed to do that. But as soon as I regained a certain alertness in everyday life, I could no longer do it. But that showed me that it is theoretically possible.
Yes, I think so too.
Yes, what other memories do you have of lucid dreams?
Yes, let's have a very exciting farewell lucid dream here.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, mine isn't that long, and that was actually one that I wrote down. Oh, and that was about
This is Nikki's 8th cell phone because they are all full.
Very good. Yes, nice moment. We have them right away. Exactly. The point was that we, Jonathan and I, tried to practice jumping in quantum fields.
Oh, that sounds very exciting.
Yes, that was actually us trying to switch through realities, and it's not like you have a really plastic, concrete reality like this. It's actually more of a black room and everything passes by you very quickly. Like with an airplane or Speedy Consulis, you actually only see the speed coils. Yes, that's actually how it is. That's how it is with these quantum fields. And we try to navigate these quantum fields to look into different realities, and that was important. We always had to call our names. So Jonathan had to call out I always have to call out Jonathan's name so that we don't get lost or end up in a reality and get stuck there. That means that if I was X in reality and Jonathan was Y, we had to set the anchor. The names were anchors, so to speak, and always call out each other's names, because otherwise it could have been that we were in X and he was in Y, got stuck and would never have gotten back to A.
That was very wise, yes.
Yes, that was actually a very, very exciting lucid dream of yours.
Yes, very exciting.
A technique that we will definitely use at some point.
Yes, we also talked about how to dream together in one of our videos in the Lucid Dream series.
Yes, dream sharing, yes.
Dream sharing, for example, that you can also learn that you both share the same dream. You go on Facebook or something like that. You can also share a post with someone, and you can also share a dream.
That's right, we had that too.
Yes, dream sharing, exactly. So that was the topic that I was following. And after I thought at some point, yes, psychokinesis, I think you have to practice 100, 200, maybe 300 lucid dreams in order to really transport this ability into everyday life. This means that the feeling, the mood that a person has when they generate and use telekinetic energy is really so strong in the dream that you can carry it over into everyday life. So you often have to practice in the dream, but it's possible. So I saw that myself. I just didn't have the patience back then because I discovered something new again. And that was, yes, the question, all dreams seem to be human in some way. You always meet people.
Okay, occasionally extraterrestrial too.
But the aliens you encounter still somehow always take place in a familiar human environment, unless it's on the spaceship.
Okay, good, then we explained that too.
So you always have the feeling that you are still on planet Earth?
Usually, yes.
Most of the time, as a rule. And then I asked myself, what can I do with lucid dreaming? Can I go beyond the existence of people, the Earth and the universe with lucid dreaming? With the ability of lucid dreaming, can I leave the universe or come to another world somewhere that has nothing to do with humans? That was just my question, and I wanted to explore these distant dimensions, and then I ended up in Penumbra. Yes, very exciting.
The maze.
I called it the Labyrinth of Penumbra, Penumbra Labyrinth. And then I ended up in a world that has nothing to do with being human. The creatures that live there are actually almost invisible. You hardly ever see them. but you hear their voices or they accompany you as you move through their world, and their world is structured like a gigantic beehive. Millions of tunnels through which you then rush at an incredibly high speed. And the exciting thing about it was, and then you realize again that my intention to take something from the dream into everyday life and explore distant dimensions was actually his synthesis achieved. Because in these tunnels, in this world where these beings lived who were mainly focused on collecting energy, like bees collecting honey, so they flew out or chased around in these tunnels and accumulated energies. That was unbelievable. As I flew through these tunnels, everything crackled around me. It's like pulling a static charged sweater over your head 1,000 times in a row. That's how I felt. Non-stop. And then I just hunted around in these tunnels and saw the most fascinating things. Things that you can't see here in everyday life. And then I somehow got out of that tunnel and woke up in my bed again. And I had an energy, guys, you can't imagine. I stood up, my fingers sizzling, I felt like Superman, really no shit. I felt so energized, I was absolutely confident about it. Now when I go outside and grab a tree, I pull it out by the roots. Now that wasn't fun. I really believed that I had enough energy to do this. So that was a confidence and a lot of energy that I had there. I had never experienced that in my entire life. No astral travel, no other lucid dream, no strange substance or anything like that, no bread and butter or anything like that, had the effect of what I had experienced in this labyrinth. And the energy I got there meant I could live very well for several days. So I was able to live everyday life very well, because the energy was so immense that somehow, yes, it was incredibly easy. And the interesting thing is, 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years after the dream, a book came onto the market by Carlos Castaneda, The Art of Dreaming. And then I found that exciting. I read the book and you wouldn't believe what it said. Almost exactly the same experience I had. Everything he described about this labyrinth, he called it the labyrinth of the inorganic. Everything he described in it, everything he had experienced in it, was almost one-to-one to what I had experienced. And at that moment I thought, aha, so with my lucid dream consciousness I have crossed over into a dimension that objectively exists. So this wasn't a subjective dream reality, because most people who lucid dream always feel like they're on their own playground. This is my dream, and everything I do here doesn't matter because it's my dream. There are no taboos here. I can do anything here and fuck anyone I want. And then I became convinced that you can also use your dream consciousness to go to other worlds that exist objectively.
Very exciting.
Yes, and that's when you realize that my intention to explore distant dimensions and take something with me from the dream came true. I was able to take the energy of dreaming with me, and then I found that interesting afterwards, and always worked on lucid dreams to accumulate energy through lucid dreaming, to accumulate psychological strength, and to take it with me into everyday life.
Yes, but we have already experienced objective reality together without knowing each other beforehand. We have already talked about the train station in a few videos. And I was there 2 or 3 times and we didn't know each other. And you were there, and at some point we talked about it and realized that it was the same train station.
Yes, exactly right. Apparently that was an objective reality.
Which exists like this.
because we both had a very similar experience at a train station and were actually able to describe the train station almost identically.
There was also a bridge near both of us. In this bridge there was an infinitely deep black hole into which we could have jumped. And yes, as I said, you had it years ago, I had it years ago. We didn't know each other, and yet the description was the same. Downstairs it was really like a busy train station with cafes and everything.
Exactly, a bit like a mall in the train station.
Yes, partly a French touch or something like that.
Yes, a bit like a corner shop at times.
Yes, something like that.
Yes, this is of course a very exciting topic.
Yes, objective reality.
So if any of you who are watching the video think, yes, I can think of one or two things, you can write them in the comments below. We're excited to see what you've done with your lucid dreams, other than eating other people or simply creating ice cream for yourself. Let's eat ice cream.
Go.
Good idea.
Bye guys, see you next week, and next week it will be exciting again. It's about reincarnation memories.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Okay, then all the best.
All the best, take care, bye.
Bye. Let's make it up.